Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions. Again, we bring back Paul Harvey. Today, we are going to be talking about the downside of being an Amazon seller. Obviously, we've always been sold on the upside, but there is a downside. But the upside, let's talk about the fun bits. We love launching, we love branding, we love marketing, we love the discovery, and we love Q4. We love all of those parts. However, day-to-day admin is a killer unless you build out your team. And that's important. I do my best to, anytime there's something that takes 2 or 3 times, like it's a repetitive task, I shoot a quick video and then it's off to the races. It goes out to a VA. I don't want to see it and I don't want to touch it again because I hate repetitive tasks. I like to work on the business rather than necessarily in the business, although I do get in the dirt with the marketing side of things. I do like to offload stuff. I mean, some of my pet hates, which other partners do and our sourcing agent do, is I hate sourcing with a passion. And that's why I built some tools, like proprietary tools for us to use in-house to speed up the validation. Like these 2 tools we got gets us down to about 8 minutes to validate something before we even speak to the factory, which is really fast. But what I can't stand is that round robin emails. I love the people at the factory, but the round robin of emails, that process of going on to Alibaba, for instance, and then hitting up, I don't know, 30, 40 people that you've picked out, maybe less, maybe more. And then you've got to do that round robin where most of your questions get ignored and then you have to whittle them down. So my partners get the wonderful jobs of doing that. What about you? What's your take on that?
Yeah, the admin stuff really gets me down. And in fact, the annoying part is that every Amazon starts off being a one-man band. And what I did one stage is that I started recording all my hours and what tasks I was doing, everything. And on an average day, I was spending about 60 to 70% on the mundane tasks like accounting, tax, all those issues. It's a pain. And then when I first started out, someone gave me a really good tip. They said, Paul, if you go into Alibaba, make sure you're ready to burn that email address. I thought he was kidding.
Yeah.
But the thing is that if you've ever gone on an Alibaba spree, contacting suppliers, they will email you for the next couple of years, whether you want them to or not.
Yeah.
The barrage of emails you get is ridiculous. And also, along with that, if you contact, let's say, 20 suppliers, you have to keep a record of those 20 to see where they are in the process of sourcing.
Yeah. No, without a doubt. So sourcing is one of the main ones for me, especially if you're looking into new products. I think that's where people, they like the tools, they like finding the product. And then when they get to that stage where they've got to contact all the factories, you know, hell freezes over, their eyes glaze over, and they just like, then they start doing other things like checking Facebook and things like that because they don't want to go through that stage because they know
exactly
how dull, boring and painful that can be. And quite close to that is shipping logistics.
Yeah.
I've got really good relationships with our UK guy, our guy in Japan, and our US guy. Lovely people, but it's such an old school industry, right? I never get any quotes elsewhere because I can't be asked to do it.
Exactly.
I'm like, is that the price? Okay, let's rock with that. Let's go. I don't pinch a penny out of the pound. And I know that sounds really terrible. But if I'm left with the logistics, I want to keep things simple. And, you know, once you've got a system in place, it's okay. But when you're sourcing a new product or like you launch into a new territory and you need to ship there directly, that whole setup procedure can be very, very painful. It takes a few shipments to get the optimization.
Yeah.
Again, this is where my tools come into play, where we can optimize unit per carton, per pallet, and get all our landing costs, prep center, sending into Amazon, all into a configuration to get that data out of the system really, really fast, where, you know, where it's about 70, 80, 90% correct, you know, but at least you can start to make decisions on it. So I've been working actively on our Amazon business and with partners to just get the admin out as the business as much as possible. So shipping logistics is another one for me. What about you on shipping?
Yeah, no, in terms of penny pinching, I agree with you entirely. I know for a fact that my freight forwarder is not the cheapest, but
Yeah,
they know the processes. I can
yeah,
tell them the factory's in China, here's the address, I want it in Amazon, US or UK, whichever, and they will get it done.
yeah,
I don't have to worry. They update me throughout the process. They say, Paul, it's on the ship now, Paul, it's in the sea, whichever. They let me know, and it makes life so much easier. Happy to pay extra for peace of mind.
yeah,
And I know people, they're always trying to look for the cheapest option, but when you go to the cheapest option, you're going to get a poor service. And that's really, really important because, as we all know, shipping to the UK, when it comes in terms of VAT and customs, that's a whole minefield. And you need a shipper that can just do it for you without you having any worries. And if
yeah.
that means paying extra, I would happily do it. And I still do.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when we originally launched into Japan, we picked up on the terminology, and I actually spoke to my UK agent, shipping agent, to speak to people on the ground in Japan to get quotes because some of the quotes were outrageous, and then the key word was tourist pricing. So basically, oh, please quote for this, but we do not want tourist pricing because suddenly
Mm,
they jack up all the prices on the Japanese
mm,
side once it starts. So you work out all the different routes that you need to go in order to optimize those costs, whether that's the
mm,
port nearest to your prep center, whether you're doing clearances done on the Japanese side or the Chinese side, who's handling those relationships and clearing up that aspect is, I've got it down to a bit of a fine art
mm.
now, but whenever you go into a new country, a new product, new factory, you're starting that process almost over again. But again, I'm lazy and I don't bother getting outside quotes because if I'm going to save myself $50, I'm in the wrong business, basically.
Exactly.
Um, I,
Exactly that.
I'd rather try and save $50 on PPC bleed instead of running, 1,000 keywords or 500 keywords and then just pushing around data managing stuff with barely any impressions. I'd rather save my money and do giveaways. Do you know what I mean? And I'm always
I
looking for
completely
the
agree.
80-20 of everything. Um, but then also you've got to get into the fact that if you're selling multi-country, you've got sales tax, so people putting their hands in your pockets there, where you've got zero returns in some states and things. You've got UK VAT, you've got European VAT, you've got reconciliation of sales, you've got capital gains tax, corporation tax. Obviously, all businesses have these. This stuff winds me up. It makes me like, I'm not an angry person, but it gives me the right ump. If I've got to sit there and reconcile accounting, and I was to do that, I'll be
Oh,
so pissed about it. And I used to be, and that's where I threw my toys out my pram and decided, right, that's enough. Everyone else is going to do all that now. And if it costs me money, so be it. You're paying away the pain, as I like to call it.
I fully agree. I mean, in terms of those the hours spent doing that, someone taught me quite a nice strategy that says that take your monthly revenue on Amazon,
Yeah,
now divide that by a 40-hour work week.
yeah,
So let's say you're making 100,000 a month. Figure out how many hours there are in a month you work. So 40 hours a week, so 160 hours a month.
yeah,
Take the money you're earning on Amazon, the revenue, and divide that by 160, and that's your hourly rate essentially.
yeah,
So the thing is, if you're spending 4 or 5 hours in accounting and your hourly rate is $300-400 an hour, then that task cost you essentially $1,600 in terms of time.
yeah,
And that's
yeah,
really, really valuable because people love to do things themselves, but right there by them doing themselves, have they harmed the business or just helped the business? In the grand scheme of things, they're working in the business, not on the business.
yeah. I mean, the next thing you've got to look at is, there are services out there, but just like I use a software called Hubstaff, which tracks, people that are working for you. And they've also got Hubstaff Talent, which is actually free. And it's
Hmm.
almost like, the one in the Philippines, the one that you pay, I think is $50 a month or whatever, which is,
Yes, yes.
them guys, it's like that, but it's multinational, it's different countries. And, I found people through there is brilliant. One of my guys who works on one of my other businesses is great. He's based in Pakistan. Getting him paid was an absolute nightmare. We went through all different things like Bitcoin, and because he's based in Pakistan,
Oh,
you're treated like a terrorist, you know? And so I couldn't get him to get paid through all the different currency companies. You couldn't get him to get paid through PayPal. The banks didn't accept it to do it. We've done what is that? What is the payment platform that people can pay cash and stuff through? Where the dodgy people use?
Oh, Western Union.
Yeah. So like if people are running scams, so we've done Western Union for it. It was a nightmare getting him paid. So the irony now is that the only way we got him paid, and now is a premium, is I've got him set up on people per hour. Right, it took months to get here. Right, we've got him set up on people per hour. No plug here because obviously pay over the odds. And he signed into that, and then I just do a reoccurring, so he gets paid weekly on a fixed rate. So that's the only downside if you're using VAs and say in Pakistan, he's trying to get them paid. But I stuck with him. He's been very good, and it's great. I mean, I even get him to write emails and everything. I just send voice messages. So I try not to do as much stuff as possible, like hands-on. Like, even though I can do listing optimization and everything else, I try and outsource everything I possibly can. And I love using voice recording. So people that know who will contact us via the show or who want advice and stuff, they write these really long emails. I'd never get back to them unless I could just send them a voice recorded to answer their questions. And I do that with the VAs as well. So you'll find out on like WeChat and Facebook, like Messenger and stuff. I send recorded voice messages. I even do this with my factories from time to time. And it's one of the best ways for me to communicate, to get stuff off my plate, like super fast. I mean, what's your favorite form of communication?
So I'm a big fan of Loom.
Yeah.
Now, Loom, I'm not sure if you've heard of it. Basically, it's very similar to Jing. It's screen recording software that's free.
Yeah.
It's a Chrome extension. And so right now, I'm developing some software, and I don't have the time to go over each and every single little bug. But whilst I'm looking at the bugs, I just press record on the Chrome extension, and it records me talking, going over the issues, going through all those things. And then at the end of it, I just press save and send. And I send them a link, and they can watch it. And so the point is that the other day I typed up an email, and man, my spelling and grammar has gotten so much worse because I tend not to do it because it wastes much time. And people do complain saying, "Oh, Paul, I want the email." I'm like, "Why are you wasting my time? It's not important."
I think people, the struggle is people do feel that, like, they'll sit down and write hundreds of emails over a week and feel that's productivity. To me, that's the biggest waste of time possible, because you're not adding value to the process. All you're doing is working on process. Does that make sense? Like
100%.
Our jobs as entrepreneurs we're meant to put the deals in place and close them. We're meant to make it happen. Yeah. And that's why you've got managers, and then you've got people that have a vision for the business. And if you end up managing your own business rather than having a vision, your business can't grow. Do you see what I mean?
Exactly.
So I think it's so important to offload every aspect. Like you, I've got Screencastify. That's a plugin that I use. I think it's about €15 for life. And I even do that when I want to deal with seller support. I try and do it as the least amount as possible. I just send them videos, because when you send them emails, they cut and paste a load of crap back at you, right? And most of it don't make sense, and they're just trying to close off your ticket. So I send them videos. And then, like, if they cut and paste stuff, I'd just say, please watch the video. Obviously, the text you sent me back, you haven't watched the video, so please watch the video.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you hear this kind of Cockney accent anytime soon, it's me being lazy with trying to type anything. But yeah,
exactly. And actually, about that, so a while ago, you posted a video about how you run Facebook ads, right?
Yeah.
The YouTube video, and I have a bunch of people reach out to me. So what I do now is I say to them, I'm not going to spend time explaining to everything. Go watch Danny's video. I send them your link to YouTube. I say, watch the video, then work through that, run a campaign, and then talk to me.
Yeah.
And do you know how many people come back to say to me, "Oh, Paul, I watched the video. I say, great, so ask some questions. They did not watch the video because
Yeah.
they're just being lazy,
Yeah.
and they would much rather type up a whole long email that's far longer than your 20-minute video. It
Yeah.
kills me.
Yeah. I mean, and I've tried to keep that video. I mean, it's on a private link, but I try to keep that video to as very to the point, as short as possible, because I get the same thing. It's like if someone asks me questions about stuff and it's in the videos, I don't always respond back because I'm like, well, it's in the video. Do you know, I'm not going to, I've given you the link. It's all there. Every single step, every piece of plugin, everything I do, put it together, how I've structured it, the whole thing is there from start to end. But then I can be a bit lazy like that, and so can you. It's like, you know, when we speak in a group, someone might say, oh yeah, there's another 3-hour webinar coming up. Is it any good? And we're like, right, it's your turn to watch it. No, it's your turn to watch it. And all we want is someone just to take some notes, because we're not interested. No one wants to sit through 3 hours of a webinar. Let's be honest, right? If they do, they're just starting out, and that's great because you're all excited. But believe me, after a few years of watching dozens and dozens, if not hundreds of webinars that are 2 or 3 hours long, it breaks your heart, and you just don't have time, because if you're running a business, you just don't have time to do those things. It was like
100%.
Before, as a friend of ours that we know, he actually approached me and said, is there a service out there where they where someone would watch the webinars on your behalf just to give you the highlights, you know, give you a one-pager? And I mean, that's another thing, isn't it? It's like your time is valuing your time. And I think for me, I value my time over money. Do you sort of
fully agree.
And you've got to really look at that all the time to evaluate, because I don't think people do, is that, you know, as someone as an entrepreneur, that you have your own business and stuff, it's very easy to fall into the trap of not paying yourself, not giving yourself enough time for rest and stuff in between as well. We've just covered a load of downsides there, but I think outsourcing as much as possible, as quick as possible, will help you grow your business as well, because it's about momentum, isn't it? If you've got to sit down and do accounts for 3 days and you're really pissed off of doing that, you lose all your creative thinking, you get pissed off about it, therefore you lose time, the momentum to go and launch that new product, or go and raise that cash to get the cash flow for that new product, you know?
Exactly that. And the thing is, people brag to me and say, oh, Paul, you know, I did so much today, and they tell me their tasks. And the grand scheme of things is that, for lack of a better term, 80% of their tasks are just grunt work.
Yeah.
I mean, replying to emails, customer emails, issuing refunds, all that stuff. I mean, it's stuff that a 12-year-old could do, essentially, with some basic training. So things like that people need to take aware of. And that's one thing I was really impressed with, is that because I do a lot of coaching, one person I spoke with is that by the time we had our second call, he already hired someone just to do customer service, one person for website design, and one person for social media. And what he did was, after every call I had with him, because it was recorded, he would then send the recording to his team. They would watch it, take notes, and they were then trained up so well because of that. And he scaled at an alarming rate because of that. Yeah,
I mean, the way that, you know, one of the key things is what I get when you start in a new VA is to get them to write the SOPs. And what I mean by that, let's just say you've got on one of your business, whether it's Amazon or not, because some of us have different businesses as well, is you would sit down and you record a video of all the steps. It doesn't have to be sexy. It's just a quick browser shot, record a video, 3 minutes long, send it off. And then what I do is I get them to write the SOP from the video with screen grabs. Then I don't have to train them, right? Yeah. So then what happens is, not that it will happen, but you also got SOPs. If your VA doesn't work out, takes another job, wants to do whatever, then you've got the SOPs in place for the next person to come in. Because the hardest thing is to find the right person, then train them and everything else. So you can train someone by doing their own learning. They can watch the video, because what they're doing is they're visualizing what's happening in the video, and they're taking notes of the video, so they put it into their long-term memory, and then they're doing screen grabs. And then you can check the SOPs to see if they're right and send the video back and say, change that, it's incorrect here. And then they get the understanding, then you can set them up on the task. So you actually get them to train themselves. So you pay them, their first week is basically watching all the videos that you've quickly recorded for them to turn into SOPs as your documents. And then they can be upgraded for a period of time.
I completely agree. In the sense that the VA should be essentially ready to replace themselves with someone else with all the training docs they've been through.
It's important. You've got to build up trust there, and I like to build long-term relationships anyway. So, you know what
exactly.
I mean?
In the sense that I fully agree is that when you hire someone, you kind of want someone with a clean slate.
No, it makes total sense. Cool. Is there anything you want to wrap on here?
Essentially is that as much as we say outsource, I think in every business, the owner of the business should be heavily involved in the marketing.
Yeah.
So the thing is that maybe you have a VA that's really skilled at doing Facebook ads. That's great, but you need to instruct them on how to use those Facebook ads to better the business. Yeah. And I don't really like a business where the owner is not on the forefront of marketing, because that's the biggest strategy to grow any business, whether it be Amazon or anything.
Cool. All right, let's wrap that there. Again, thank you for coming in. Guys, thanks again for your ears and your patience. Hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.